Hey everybody, I'd introduce myself, but you're probably watching this video for the comic book and not for me. So let's go ahead and get started with this. This is DC and Marvel present the greatest superhero team up of all time, the battle of the century, Superman versus The Amazing Spider-Man. Alright, this came out in 1976. I was either 10 or 11 years old when it came out, and even then I knew that in a fight between Superman and The Amazing Spider-Man. Now I like Spider-Man a lot better. I read Spider-Man comics. I didn't really read Superman all that much because Superman is still in that boring phase back in the 70s. But even then, even so, I knew that in a fight between Superman and Spider-Man, man, I'd be one-sided. Alright, now this Treasury Edition, this is supposedly the first collaboration between Marvel and DC, and these are pretty common back in the 1970s. I should have brought a regular comic book to compare sizes. This is a lot bigger than a normal comic book. Normally, these Treasury Editions were reprints. For example, like a Spider-Man Treasury Edition might reprint 5 or 6 Spider-Man stories. And for young collectors like me, these are gold because it's really tough, almost impossible to buy back issues back then because there weren't any comic book stores, and there was no eBay, and there was no Amazon. So this is a great way to get reprints. But like I said, this one's a little unusual because it's an original story, and it's a collaboration between Marvel and DC, which no one thought was possible. I said, oh my God, Superman and Spider-Man together in a comic. Now I bought this when it first came out, and then I probably ruined it. Oops, my voice went high-pitched. Now this right here, this is from a sticker tape gun that I had back in the 1970s. You might not know what those are. It was a really stupid thing for parents to give kids. You could type out words and messages on those little stickers that came in different colors, and it would come out like a gun kind of, and then you'd stick the tape on something that you weren't supposed to, stick it to. It was one of those things where parents would give it to kids and then 5 minutes later regretted it. It's like, why did we? Anyways, this says Spider-Man is better than Super. I think I ran out of tape or something, but at least it was grammatically correct. But then I put it on this and I thought, oh man, a friend of mine said to me, I think you just ruined it. Because we had this idea that comic books would be worth a lot of money, and some of them are, but they made so many of them, and back in the 70s people were collecting them, so there were, nowadays there are probably a lot of copies of this still. If you look for it, you probably get it fairly cheap if you look for it. Anyways, I've kept this copy for, well, it came out in 1976. I don't want to do the math, but it's got to be close to 45 years old, over 40 years old. Anyways, I've sold most of my stuff, but I kept this. I mean, who's going to want to buy this? That big sticker tape on it. But the thing is, I haven't read it. I probably haven't read it in 35 years. So I don't even remember if it was any good or not. So I wouldn't be surprised if this was just like a really crappy money grab. So I'm going to take a look, and let's see if this is any good. Alright, so I'm going to open it up. I have to adjust it a little bit, because I'm going to have to do full page. Well, I don't even think I've shown the bottom. So there's the cover. That's a cool cover. I gotta say, it's a good cover. It's a good start. And let's open that up and go over here to the inside cover. And hey, look at that. A soliloquy from Stan Lee. Look at that guy. That doesn't look much like the guy we saw in the Marvel movies. You gotta remember Iron Man. That first Iron Man movie came out, 2008? And this is 1976. There it is, 1976. So it was gonna be, 40 years, 30 years, 70 to 30, like over 30 years before Iron Man would ever come out. And then you've got Carmine Infantino, and he was an artist for DC. I remember he did some Batman comics in the late 60s, maybe early 70s. I wasn't a big fan of his art. My big memory from him, I used to like this comic in the 70s called Nova, and like the first maybe 12 or 13 issues were drawn by Sal Buscema. It was pretty pedestrian, but I liked it. And then I think Carmine Infantino drew the last 10. The transition was too much. A lot of people liked his comics, but I didn't care for his artwork that much. I think he drew Spider-Woman too, I think, early issues. Alright, so here it says, at last, the greatest team-up of all time, Superman, The Amazing Spider-Man. This is at the battle. So they keep going between team-up and battle. So which one is it? Well, of course, it's going to be both. We know that. Because the Marvel team-up comics in the 70s, a lot of times would have a quick superhero fight before they teamed up. All right, so presented by, yeah, Now, this is kind of funny. Carmine Infantino gets his name first. And I can kind of see why, because more people knew Stan Lee, so, you know. And then you had Jerry Conway writing it. I think he was the Spider-Man writer at the time in the 70s. Ross Andrew was the Spider-Man artist when I was growing up. So I was buying Spider-Man comics in the 70s, and Ross Andrew drew a lot of them. And then Dick Giordano, he inked. I remember he drew and inked Batman. And I don't know this guy. And I don't know this guy. I don't know this guy. Roy Thomas was Marvel. Julius Schwartz was DC. Marv Wolfman, I think, was Marvel at the time. I think he didn't go to DC until maybe the 80s. And then I don't know this guy. Because I'm more of a Marvel guy than a DC guy. All right, so let's take a look. And again, you've got, okay, decent first page spread. Okay, now, oh wow. And you got the double page and the comic's starting to fall apart. But that's not that big of a deal because I was never going to make money off of this anyways. So if I remember correctly, we've got like this 15-page Superman story. So we've got a rampaging robot, property damage, rampaging, okay. And then I think there's some deal with red kryptonite. I don't remember the story all that much, okay. Lex Luthor in that supervillain outfit. So he goes through these phases where he's like obvious supervillain, and then other times where he wants to appear legitimate. And then something happens. I don't know. They go to Clark Kent. Okay, now I don't know this doofus right here. Ooh, that's 70s. That is really 1970s. Between that cut and then that jacket. And I guess this guy's a practical joker because that was supposed to fall on Clark Kent's head. Now, would he really do that though? Would he really say? Because that could actually hurt somebody, you know. So I don't know if Clark Kent would. I don't know if he'd do that. I think it's a little out of character. And then, okay, so we had Jimmy Olsen. So Jimmy Olsen's Jimmy Olsen. And so I don't even know what the plot is. It's just Superman, giant robot. And then, like I said, it starts off like a Superman comic, but it's kind of drawn like a Marvel. All right, and so it ends up with, there he is, Lex Luthor. You said it's time you paid the piper. Forget the piper. Just take me to jail. And so that's the end of the Superman story. So Superman defeats Lex Luthor. You think, okay, that's it. And then you get this little nice little, whatever this is called, filler. And then you have the Spider-Man story, prologue number 2. That page is out of place. That first page that was coming loose. And it's an okay spread, not that dramatic though. So let's just see it's a Spider-Man Dr. Octopus story. And this looks like a pretty standard Spider-Man comic of the time. So you got the fight scene, and then, hey, here we go, J. Jonah Jameson. And then this is also 70s because you got the jacket with the black sweater, and then the J. Jonah Jameson stuff's always not always, oftentimes, is the highlight of the personal part of a Spider-Man comic. Yeah! And then, okay, I don't know. You could get, nowadays, I think J. Jonah Jameson could get himself in a lot of trouble. I don't know, the 70s, I think you could get away with stuff like that. I don't think you can get away with stuff like that nowadays. I think HR would, and lawyers would probably. But anyways, Peter Parker's upset. And then we have more Spider-Man stuff, and then another, and then if I remember correctly, this weird thing happens. Did I miss it? Oh, I missed it. Okay, I'm not gonna go back to it. But anyways, Dr. Octopus gets put in jail. Okay? Now this is what page? What page is this? Oh, page 30. Alright, so this is page 30. And then you got prologue number 3 where Lex Luthor meets Dr. Octopus. And this takes a couple pages. They escape together. And then you get this little filler with both the villains. And then finally, sheesh, on page 37? Something like that. Wait, what is this here? page. Okay, 37, it's the full Duel of the Titans, Chapter 1. And here you've got a mix of all the characters. You've got the Superman characters, and then you also have the Spider-Man characters. And then let's take a look. We got 1970s sweater, outfit, jeans, Mary Jane when she's in her attractive stage, and Clark Kent, Lois Lane, Robertson, Betty Brant. I think that's Ned Leeds. So you got, and I don't know a lot of the Superman characters. And then there's your interaction between J. Jonah Jameson. And then he talks back. Peter Parker talks back, gets mad. I remember that. And then we've got more stuff. Now it's the Superman, Clark Kent side of it, and then his, whatever that guy's name is, his jerk of a boss. And hell, I remember this. Clark Kent, are you going to let him do that to you? Take away the biggest story of your career, are you? Yes, Lois, as a matter of fact, I am. I remember that. And of course, Lois goes out on her own, strikes out on her own, and gets herself into trouble, and then instead it's Peter Parker that saves her. So there's your first twist. And then Superman, oh, look at that. Peter Parker and Lois Lane meet. And then, oh wait, that's not, that's right, it's a fake Superman. Okay, that's right. Now, this is kind of funny. Phone booth, where are the phone booths? Well, that's a good line. And then that's good. And then Superman and Spider-Man meet. Okay, when heroes clash. All right, now for some reason, oh no, they don't meet. Doggone it, how many times am I gonna fake? And I've read this before. I think it's 30 years, but still. All right, now for some reason, I don't know if it's a red kryptonite thing or if Spider-Man's strength got juiced up. I forget. But here you got Spider-Man just beating the crap out of Superman. It's right, because it's something. Anybody, Superman's holding back. Right, stuff it, Superman. I think there's even, can't get over how easy this is. Man, this guy's overrated. And then, oh yeah, and this one, where Superman finally decides to hit him back, and then he holds back at the last second, and then he's still. And then when the power wears off, or the red kryptonite wears off, I forget, but there's a funny scene I remember. Where is it? Oh yeah, where Spider. Okay, and then no, that's pretty good. I mean, this is a good comic. All right, it's a good interaction, and they decide to work together. And I really don't remember things. I think there's a section where Spider-Man's kind of useless. They do something to try to track. Oh yeah, I remember this. Where, okay, they get, they do not look like they are enjoying each other's company right there. And then Spider-Man's gonna tap into the computer, but why didn't his spider sense go off? Why didn't his spidey sense make him realize that there were explosives there? All right, anyway, so they get, I don't remember anything about this part. I don't think this is Wakanda though. And then let's see. I don't remember this part much. I really don't even remember the ending. I just remember that fight between Spider-Man. That's the part that I probably read most frequently, most often. All right, so we still have, and then you got the two bosses. That's kind of funny. I read a newspaper. So, hi, Jameson, remember the Daily Planet? Ah, yes, well, you've got workers you can trust. What, are you a comedian? Pardon? Take Clark Kent, for example. Is that a serious offer? I mean, that's good dialogue. I mean, that's, all right, that's 70s stuff. And then you end up in outer space. And then, okay, here we go. The little crossover fights. You have Spider-Man fighting Lex Luthor and Superman fighting Dr. Octopus. He's probably got that red kryptonite issue. Ah, come on, guys. Seriously. Superman. I remember the first time Spider-Man fought Dr. Octopus, just hit him in the jaw. Got through all the tentacles and then pat. And wow, all I had to do is hit him with the jaw. I wonder if Doc Ock got that fixed, so it would take a little bit more than just, broken glasses. I've been there. And then when something happens. Oh yeah, there's something happens when he turns on him. I can't let you do it. This Earth is my home too. Now see, and this is because Lex Luthor, I just remember as just being, he wouldn't destroy the Earth. He would want to, subvert it or take it over somehow, but not. Oh, anyways, there might be some stuff here I don't remember. And then Superman does the Superman thing. And then, very important. And then Spider-Man gets to punch out Lex Luthor. And then they win. And then, oops, feel those pages turn. Be careful, man. Be careful with this book. After all, it isn't every day two living legends go around making history. Am I right or am I right? And then Superman says, Spidey, old friend. Old friend? Yeah, new friend. I don't think anyone's ever been righter. Righter? More correct? Anyways, when you see that last page there, man, hold together, hold together. I'm 50 years old. You only need to make it a few more decades for me. All right, and then you get the epilogue, which is a lot shorter than the prologue. And some reading, and then they go off. Mr. Edge, that's right, the guy's name is Edge, I forget. Okay, bad haircut. Man, that's what I'm talking about. 70s had some bad hair. All right. And folks, this is definitely the end. They walk off arm in arm. And as far as we know, it's the last time we ever see them together. And then how to draw, how this famous cover was born. And for some reason, this reminds me of that book, How to Draw Comics the Marvel Way. And I still have that book. I bought that when it came out, but I lost the cover jacket. And I don't even remember what's on the back. What's on the back? Oh, yeah. This is a great way to end up. It's a great way to end the video. Great pose. All right, so there you go. A glimpse of the first and maybe even the best Marvel DC crossover. Now, I read some of the crossovers in the 90s too, and I don't know, I didn't think they were any good, but if you disagree, let me know. And remember, if you're disappointed in today's comic books, you don't have to complain about it. Just buy an old comic book. All right, thanks for watching.